Hey there, VCE HHD students. My name's Anne. I'm a VCE Health and Human Development teacher. In this short video, we're looking at the intergenerational nature of health and wellbeing, and this is relevant for Unit 2, Areas Study 1 for the 2025 plus HHD study zone. Before we dive into this video, let's just have a look at some of the ways you can engage with the Health Resources Hub. If you're on our YouTube channel at the moment, you can subscribe with a button in the bottom corner of the video there, and that means you'll get alerts to all of our new videos as they come out across the year. We've also got our website, thehh.net.au, where there's opportunities for VCEHHD students and teachers. We've got a new Unit 1 and 2 student newsletter, so you can head there and have a look at the ribbon across the top, and you'll see there's a drop down there for students, and you can sign up to our free student newsletter for Unit 1 and 2 students. We've also got our Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook pages where you can follow us and get alerts to our new videos and other opportunities, and also our email, info@hrh.net.au, if you'd like to get in touch. Once again, before we dive into this video, I also wanted to alert Unit 1 and 2 students that we have some new A+ course summary notes for Unit 1 and 2. So these would be ideal as you're preparing for your assessments or an end of your exam for Unit 1 and 2. And so once again, here's a screenshot from our website. If you head there, so you can see across the top, there's a ribbon and there's a drop down for students, and down the bottom there is the A+ course notes page. So if you click on that, there's the opportunity to place an order for those if that's something that's of interest to you. Okay, so what parts of the course does this video relate to? So you can see here the Unit 2 key knowledge, the intergenerational nature of health and wellbeing, and then the key skill is being able to explain this concept. So let's start off with what is the intergenerational nature of health and well-being. So this is really referring how to the health and well-being of one generation can influence the health and well-being of future generations. And so that means that perhaps an activity that an individual might be engaging with or something that might happen to them in their generation can then flow on and affect their children and potentially their children after that as well. And so there are a range of different factors that can influence how health and well-being could be shaped across the generations. And so you can see there epigenetics, which we're going to explore in this video today, and then some early life experiences. And so we won't dive deeply into those today, but those include things like early relationships, parental influences, and socioeconomic status. And so you can see that there is a number of ways that you could be linking, okay, this concept here to impacts on future generations, and we're going to explore epigenetics. So you might have heard, okay, of this term before, and you've probably heard of DNA. And so your DNA is made up of the genes, and you get that information, so that genetic information from both of your parents. And so epigenetics refers to the study of how environmental factors and life experiences can change the ways that genes perhaps work, such as when and how they are switched on and off. And so your genes influence your traits. Okay, and so when we talk about them being switched on or off, okay, different genes be switched on or off during different times within your life, and that might influence the different sort of traits, okay, that you might possess. And so sometimes people, when they're talking about this in science subjects, might talk about traits such as things like eye color and hair color, but genes have an impact on a lot of other things as well, but they're not always active. There are some factors that can cause them to be switched on or switched off, and that can then have an impact on the individual's health and well-being. So you can see some examples there like stress, poor diet, smoking, and trauma can cause epigenetic changes in a person, and these changes could then be passed on through the egg or sperm of that individual to their children. So as you probably know, okay, when sex cells are formed like egg and sperm, that is, okay, the DNA of that individual being passed on. And so if these epigenetic factors influence perhaps the DNA of an individual within their life, that could then be passed on to their children via their egg or sperm. So as it says there, that means a child may inherit the health risks or traits that their parents experienced before the birth of that child had. So you can see here, one example is long-term stress. So long-term stress can cause chemical markers to attach near particular genes, and that can therefore reduce the activity of that particular gene, which may cause the individual to react poorly to stress. And so then in some cases, okay, that gene or these genes could be passed on to future generations, and that could have an impact on how they might respond to stress, which could obviously have an impact on their mental health and well-being. So when it comes to this particular key knowledge point as part of the course, it's just being able to give some examples, as you can see, of how these, I guess, impacts in the life of one individual can impact on, okay, the next generation. So here are just a couple of assessment tips. So if you are answering questions related to this part of the course, it is important to make reference to a couple of generations as part of your response to really show that intergenerational nature. So make sure you're making a connection between the influences of one generation, such as a parent, on the health and well-being of that next generation, such as their children. And so keep in mind, okay, as it says there, that the factors that can influence intergenerational nature of health and well-being don't always impact on individuals in the same way and to the same degree. So using language such as can contribute to or may lead to is a useful way of framing your response, because you don't always necessarily know that those experiences of one individual will necessarily significantly impact their children or future generations. But as part of this concept and this part of the course, you're just trying to demonstrate your understanding of how this can happen. Okay, hopefully you found this video useful. Just a reminder, head to our website to check out that sign up page for our student newsletter and also those A+ course notes. Okay, thanks so much. Hope you found this video useful.